Okay, we're on to question 4. Question 4 says, find the first 3 terms in ascending powers of x of the binomial expansion of. So as soon as we see binomial expansion, of course, we're thinking of x plus y to the power of n, something to that effect. You know, binomial 2 terms, and it's an expansion, and it's going to be raised to some power. And we remember our general rule is it starts off as n choose 0, so combinations, combinatorics, times the first term to the maximum power, the power of n, and the second term in the binomial to the lowest term, which is 0, plus n choose 1 times x to the power of n minus 1 y to the power of 1, plus n choose 2 x to the power of n minus 2 y to the power of 2, all the way up to plus, 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 you know, dot, 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 dot. And then you're getting to, at the very final one, n choose n times x to the power of 0, y to the power of n. So what happens as you go through these terms is that the power on the first term is reducing by 1 each time, starting at a maximum of n and finishing off at the lowest possible value, which is 0. And at the same time, the power on the second term, which is y in my example, is increasing by 1 each time, all the way up to a maximum of n. And the power on the second term is always the same as the bottom of the combinations part. So if it's n choose 1, then it's y to the power of 1. So remembering that, we think to ourselves, okay, find the first 3 terms in ascending powers of x of this binomial expansion. So we're just kind of going to try it and see what happens. As I always say, if you don't know what to do, do what you know. And give each term in its simplest form. So off we go. We start off, well, okay, this first term is 9 choose 0. So it'd be 9 choose 0 times 2 to the power of 9, and then the minus x over 16 to the power of 0. But 9 choose 0 is 1, and anything raised to the power of 0 is 1. So therefore, it just simplifies down to 9, 2 to the power of 9. The second term is 9 choose 1 times 2 to the power of 9 minus 1, which is obviously 8, times minus x over 16 to the power of 1, plus 9 choose 2, 2 to the power of 7, minus x over 16 to the power of 2. So just with this term in a moment, we're going to see that I'm going to be squaring the minus x over 16. So I'm going to minus times minus is plus. I'll have x times x is x squared. And I'll have a 16 squared underneath the line. What do I get here? Well, 2 to the power of 9 is 512. When I multiply out all the numbers in this, I'm going to get minus 144. And it's a minus because there's one negative sign in here. And it's x to the power of 1 because it's just x raised to, the power of 1. There's nothing else in there. Similarly, when I deal with this part here, put all that into the calculator, just be careful with it, but you're going to end up with a plus 18x squared. So those are the first 3 terms in ascending powers of x. So like 512 is x to the power of 0, or a constant, minus 144 x to the power of 1 plus 18x squared. And it's a 10-mark question. So again, not as difficult as it probably first seemed. It then says this, and I'm expecting that this will kind of throw a few students off, that they'll find this a bit difficult. It says f of x is equal to a plus bx times 2 minus x over 16 to the power of 9, where a and b are constants. Given that the first two terms in ascending powers of x in the series of the expansion of this function are 128 and 36x, use your answer to part A or otherwise to show that a is equal to a quarter and b is equal to 9 over 64. So, okay, this is what we're aiming for. It's one of these ones, again, I'd say read it, reread it, make sure you have your head around this question. Okay, then what are we going to do next? Well, what are we going to do? We're going to start off. We remember, of course, that the first 3 terms of this expansion, 2 minus x over 16 to the power 9, is as follows. So we have this, 512 minus 144x plus 18x squared. When I multiply a plus bx by this, now of course I could have it with all of the terms of the binomial expansion, but I know I'm not going to need all of those terms. So I have the first three terms here, and when I multiply them out, I get my first three terms here multiplied by a plus bx. I'm going to get 512a minus 144ax plus 18x squared plus 152bx minus 144bx squared and plus 18bx cubed. So this guy here is my constant 512a because he's the only term with no x in it. Then my 144ax and my 512bx are the terms that are to the power x to the power of 1. So comparing coefficients, I can say the following. Looking back here, I know that the first two terms as ascending powers of x are 128 and 36x. So I can say the following. 512a is the constant. That must be equal to 128. So therefore, a is equal to 128 over 512 is equal to a quarter. And similarly, the two terms that have an x in it, minus 144ax and 512bx, must be equal to 36x. So I can divide across by the x's, sub in a quarter for a. I can start to tidy up this, and of course I'm going to solve for b, so I'm going to get 512b is equal to 72. B turns out to be 9 over 64. And I have my two required answers. Now that was a 10-mark question, and okay, fair enough, maybe it was a difficult question for the 10 marks. But as is often the case, this leads us into our third part, using the values of a and b, which we were given in part b, find the sum of the, let me see, I just got to move something here. The first three terms of the expansion of f of x equals a plus bx times 2 minus x over 16 to the power 9, given that x equals 2. So the first three terms of this expansion. So, okay, I now know that a is a quarter. I know that b is 9 over 64. So I sub in. I see one mistake here. This is 9 over 64. 9 over 64. So I have a quarter plus 9 over 64x times 512 minus 144x plus 18x squared. I multiplied through there. I think the rest of my numbers are still fine here. And then when I multiply all that through and sub in my value of x equals 2, I get a final answer of 137. So 137. So in this case, I find that my answer when x equals 2, and I know my values of a being a quarter and b being 9 over 64. When I sub up all that in, I can just work on my answer to be 137. And here's the thing. I didn't even need to know how to do part B. I could have got 0 in part B, and I still could have got full marks for this because I was given what A was, I was given what B was, and now I'm given what X is. So therefore, I'm going to say part C of this question for 10 marks was pretty straightforward. Okay, that's the end of question 4.